Listen, Denver will have you feeling like you made it in life until your rent hit that account. I'm talking mountain views, sunshine, clean air, and then boom, $600,000 for a house that was $300,000 not too long ago. So the real question is Denver actually worth it in 2026, or is it just a hype? Today I'm breaking down the real pros and cons of living in Denver, Colorado, not the sugar-coated version, the real version people don't tell you until you already moved here. And make sure you stick around, because at the end, I'm going to tell you the number one thing people regret about moving to Denver. And trust me, it catches a lot of people off guard. All right, let's start with one of the biggest reasons people fall in love with Denver, and that is the weather. And I know what you're probably thinking. Colorado, cold, snow, long winters. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. But the reality, Denver's weather is very different from what people expect. Let's start with the stat that really matters. Denver averages about 300 days of sunshine per year. 300. Put that into perspective. That's more sunny days in a place like Seattle or Chicago by a long shot.
Not just like the rest of you. I'm stronger, I'm smarter, I'm better.
It's actually comparable to cities people think of as sunny like San Diego. So what does that mean for you on a daily basis? You're not dealing with weeks of gray skies. You're not waking up feeling sluggish all the time. You actually want to go outside. And if you ever lived somewhere where it is cloudy for like 10 days straight, and you know how that messes with your mood. Denver, completely different vibe. Now let's talk temperature so you really understand how this plays out. Summer highs usually sits around 85 to 92 degrees. But here's the key difference. It's a dry heat. So unlike places like Texas, Florida, Georgia, you're not stepping outside immediately sweating. In Denver, you can be in a 90-degree weather and still feel comfortable. Winter temps usually range between 30 to 50 degrees during the day. This is during the day. And that surprises a lot of people, to be truthfully honest. Yes, it snows, but it's not like those Midwest or East Coast winters where it's just gray, cold, depressing for months. Now let's talk about snow, because this is where people get confused. Yes, Denver gets snow. On average, about 50 to 60 inches per year. But here's the part nobody explains. It doesn't stay, or it doesn't stick. Because of the altitude and the sunshine, snow melts fast here in Colorado. You can get a snowstorm overnight, and by the next day, roads are clear, sun is out, life just goes on. It's like the snow just came through just for a quick visit, just to holler.
Hey, can I holler? Can I holler at you? Can I holler at you? Can I holler?
Now, here's something people don't talk about enough. Denver has very low humidity, usually around 30 to 40%. That means less sweating, less sticky air, more comfortable summers. You know that feeling when you step outside somewhere humid and it just hits you? Yeah, Denver don't do that. You don't see that here or feel that here. Now, I got to keep it real with you. That same dry climate, it comes with consequences. And I'm talking dry skin, chapped lips. You're waking up needing water immediately. Chapstick is not optional out here. It's part of surviving. Now let's talk about something Denver is low-key famous for. The weather being unpredictable. And this is not an exaggeration. You can have snow in the morning, sunshine by noon, hoodie weather by the evening. And I'm talking all of this is in the same day. So yeah, the weather app is more of a suggestion than a guarantee. And here's something a lot of people don't realize. Denver sits at about 5,280 feet above sea level. Why it's called the Mile High City. That elevation affects everything about the weather. Closer to the sun equals stronger UV rays, faster temperature changes, more intense sunlight. So even if it's not that hot, you can still get sunburned quick.
Even though I look like a burnt chicken nugget, I still love myself.
Now let's talk about something deeper. That sunshine and weather, it actually impacts your mental health. Studies show more sunlight can improve mood, increase energy, reduce seasonal depression. And you feel that in Denver. People are outside more. People are more active. People just seem lighter. So is the weather perfect? Not at all. You still get snowstorms, sudden changes, dry air issues. But overall, Denver has one of the most balanced climates in the country. And honestly, the weather is one of the main reasons people move here. But it's also the reason why they start exploring everything else Denver has to offer. Which brings me to the next pro, the lifestyle in the outdoors. If you're someone who values sunshine, being outside, not dealing with the extreme humidity, Denver is going to feel like a major upgrade. All right. Now let's talk about the reason most people even consider moving to Denver in the first place. That outdoor lifestyle. And I'm not going to lie, this is where Denver really stands out. The mountain access. Let's start with the biggest flex Denver has. You're about 60 to 90 minutes away from the Rocky Mountains, depending on where you are in the city. We're not talking about small hills. We're talking about the Rocky Mountains, some of the most iconic mountain ranges in the entire country. And within about a 1.5 to 2 hour drive, you got access to dozens of hiking trails, major ski resorts, lakes, and scenic drives. So yeah, this isn't a once a year vacation type thing. This is a weekend lifestyle. Now let's talk about something Colorado's world known for, skiing and snowboarding. Colorado consistently ranks as one of the top ski destinations in the
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
in the United States. You've got resorts like Vail Ski Resort, Breckenridge Ski Resort, Keystone Resort. These aren't small spots. Colorado sees 13 plus million skiers visits per year statewide. Let that sink in. That's how serious outdoor culture is here. And even if you don't ski, just being around the energy, it's just different. Now let's talk hiking. There are literally hundreds of trails within driving distance of Denver, and not just far away. You got trails 15, 30 minutes from downtown. Red Rocks Park and Amphitheater, Mount Falcon Park. In these spots, people go before work, after work, weekends. This isn't a special event. It's part of people's routine. Now, here's what really makes Denver different. The outdoor lifestyle isn't just something you do. It's something you see every single day. You'll notice people biking to work, running downtown trails, walking dogs everywhere, fitness groups meeting up outside. In that kind of environment, it influences you whether you realize it or not. You might move here thinking, I'm not that active. All I'm saying is give it a few months.
A few moments later.
You're going to be outside, walking trails, just like everybody else. Now let's talk about something underrated. Denver has over 200 parks and about 5,000 acres of parkland within the city. So even if you don't go to the mountains, you still have access to outdoor space. I'm talking everywhere. Places like City Park, Washington Park, these aren't just parks. These are social hubs. You got volleyball, picnics, workout groups, people just outside enjoying life. Now let's talk about something that becomes part of your lifestyle real quick. Weekend trips. Living in Denver means you're within driving distance of places like Boulder, Colorado Springs, Rocky Mountain National Park. So instead of just staying in the city every weekend, you got options. And that changes how you live. Now we're going to talk about something a little bit more deeper. Access to nature has proven to reduce stress, improve mood, increase physical activity. You feel that here in Denver. People here spend more time outside. They seem to be more active. Their health is very important to them. Now I got to keep it real with you. Just because the lifestyle is there doesn't mean you're going to live. I'm just being honest. You might move here thinking, I'm about to hike every weekend. Then life hits you. You work, you get tired, chilling, you're relaxing, and now you hiking once a month, if that. And the other part people don't think about, everybody else has that same idea. So now, trails get crowded, ski traffic get crazy, weekend drives take longer, and that's where this pro started turning into a con if you're not strategic. But overall, the outdoor lifestyle is one of the biggest advantages of living in Denver. If you're someone who wants access to nature, an active lifestyle, a city that doesn't feel boxed in, Denver delivers on that. If you're thinking about moving to Denver, do it the right way. My name is Lorraine King. I help people sell and relocate in the Denver metro. And I don't just help move. I help you move smart. Call or text me the number below. Better to text me because spam call me like I owe them some money. All right, let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention when people hype up Denver. The money. Show me the money.
Tell them to bring me my money. Yeah!
Because, yeah, Denver looks good, feels good, But at the end of the day, you still gotta make a living. Now let's start with the big picture. The Denver metro population is over 3 million people.
Damn!
And it's been one of the fastest growing metro areas in the U.S. over the past decade. And growth like that doesn't happen for no reason. It happens because of opportunity. Let's talk job market numbers. Denver's unemployment rate has historically stayed at or below the national average. So what does that mean? People are working, jobs are available, the economy is moving. And that's a big deal when deciding where to live. Now let's talk about where the money is coming from. Denver isn't a one industry city. It's diverse, and that what makes it strong. Denver has become a growing tech hub. You've got companies and talent coming in from places like San Francisco, Seattle, because people want that tech salary without paying California prices. Tech jobs here range from software engineering, cybersecurity, data analytics, and many of these roles are paying $90K to $150K plus depending on the experience. Healthcare is another pillar in Denver. You got large systems like UC Health, Denver Health. These provide stable employment, long-term career path, consistent demand. And that's important driving economic shifts. Now, this is something that people don't expect. Denver is actually a hub for aerospace and engineering. You got companies like Lockheed Martin, Ball Aerospace, and these are high-paying specialized jobs. And of course, we got to talk real estate because with population growth comes development. You've got new construction communities, apartment developments, commercial growth, and that creates jobs across sales, construction, investing. Now, here's one of the biggest reasons Denver has exploded recently: remote work. People realize I don't have to live in an expensive city to make good money. So what did they do? They kept their California salary, New York salary, and decided to move to Denver. And that changed everything. Now here where it gets interesting. Denver's median household income sits around $80,000 to $90,000 depending on the area. But remember what we talked about earlier. Cost of living is high.
As a karate expert, I will not talk about anyone up here because our children can't afford to live anywhere. Nowhere. There's nowhere to go. Once again, why? You said it, the rent is too damn high.
So what does that mean? You got strong income potentials, but also higher expenses. So it's not just about making money, it's about how you manage it. Now let's talk about it. Something that's a little less obvious. The networking culture in Denver is strong because this is a transplant city. A lot of people here are new, building connections, starting businesses, are just looking to grow. So it's actually easier than you think to meet people, build relationships, find opportunities. And if you're an entrepreneur, Denver is a great place to build. You've got co-working spaces, startup communities. People are open to collaborating. And the lifestyle here supports that balance, work plus life. Now, let me keep it real with you. Just because there's opportunity doesn't mean it's automatic. You still have to be competitive, have skills, position yourself correctly. And remember, you're competing with people moving here with high salaries. And that's exactly why the cost of living keeps going up, because people have money to spend. But overall, Denver has one of the most balanced and opportunity-driven economies in the country. If you're someone who wants career growth, strong job options, a city that's still expanding, Denver puts you in a good position to win. All right, we got to talk about this one because this right here is the number one reason people move to Denver and start second guessing that decision. Cost of living. And I'm not talking about it's a little pricey. I'm talking about if you're not financially prepared, Denver will humble you real quick. Let's start with the facts so you understand what you're walking into. The cost of living in Denver is about 34% higher than the national average. So right off the bat, you're paying more for almost everything compared to most cities in the U.S. Now let's talk about the biggest driver of the cost. Housing. The average home value in Denver is sitting around $530,000 to $540,000 right now. Median home prices are closer to $575,000 to $600,000, and it all depends on the market. So what does that mean? This is not an entry level market anymore. If you want a single family home, you are realistically looking at 630,000 on average. And that's not luxury. That's just getting in the game. Now let's talk about renting. The average rent in Denver is around 1,800 plus per month right now. But here's the part that hits different. Around 2,000 a month might only give you about 900 square feet. So you're paying more for less space than the national average. So yeah, your money don't stretch the same out here. Now, here's where people get caught. The median household income in Denver is around 90 to 92,000. And that sounds good, right? But here's the problem. Costs rose faster than incomes. So now you got people making decent money but still feeling financially tight. Let me break this down in real life terms. You could be making 85 to 95,000, even 100K, and still feel like I'm not really getting ahead because your money is going to rent or mortgage, car note, insurance, groceries. Maybe you're going out occasionally. And next thing you know, you maintaining, not building. You ever check your account after bills and just sit there? Like, yeah, I'm chilling this weekend. Now, here's the part that really explains everything. Denver didn't just randomly get expensive. This is what happens when population grows fast. Demand increases. Suddenly, supply can't keep up. Over the last decade, Denver has been one of the fastest growing cities in the country. And on top of that, people moved here from higher cost states, keeping their California salaries, New York salaries, remote jobs. So now you got people making more money competing for the same housing, and that drive prices up. Now let's talk about what it actually looked like to buy. If you buy a $600,000 home, your monthly payment could easily be $3,500 to $4,500 depending on rate. And that's before maintenance, utilities, unexpected repairs. The average down payment in Denver has even climbed to around $80,000. So just getting in the door, that's expensive. So what do people do? They start moving further out. Aurora, Thornton, Commerce City, Castle Rock. They doing this to save money. But now what happened? Longer commute, more time in traffic, less convenient. So now you're choosing between time versus money. And now here's what really catches people off guard. The hidden cost. I'm talking about utilities, especially winter, HOA fees, parking downtown, entertainment, outdoor activities. Skiing is not cheap. So yeah, you moved here for the lifestyle, but the lifestyle costs money. Now let's be fair. Denver is still cheaper than LA, San Francisco, New York. So for some people, it actually feels affordable. But if you're coming from the Midwest, southern states, smaller cities, this is going to feel expensive, period, point blank. And here's the crazy part. Even with all these prices, people are still moving here every single day, which means competition is not going anywhere. So if you're thinking about moving to Denver, don't just look at how much you make. Look at how far it actually goes. Because if you move here without a plan, Denver will feel very stressful. But if you move smart, you still can win out here. All right. Now let's talk about one of the most important things you need to understand about Denver, the housing market. And I'm not just talking about prices. I'm talking about competition, speed, and pressure. Let's start with the facts so you really understand what you're walking into. The average home value in Denver is sitting around $530,000 to $540,000 in 2026. Medium sale prices are closer to $630K in many recent reports, depending on timing and parts of the market. So right off the bat, this is not a cheap or beginner market anymore. Here's where people get caught off guard. Homes in Denver are going pending in about 19 to 30 days on average, depending on the segment. And in hotter areas, it could be even faster. So what does that mean in real life? You don't have time to think about it for a week anymore. If you like a house, you have to be ready to move. Now let's talk about something most people don't understand. Inventory is still tight compared to demand. As of early 2026, around 3,000 to 3,300 active listings citywide at any given time. And that sounds like a lot, but when you break it down across a metro of 3 million people, it's actually limited. Now here's the part that really matters. On average, homes receive multiple offers in competitive segments. And depending on price point and area, you can still see bidding pressure, especially for a well-priced home. So what does that mean for you as a buyer? You're not just competing against the seller. You're competing against other buyers at the same time. Now let's talk about pricing behavior. Even though the market has cooled for pandemic highs, about 16 to 18% of homes still sell above asking price in certain conditions. So what does that tell you? If a home is priced right in a good area, it can still move fast and get competitive. Now let's break down why this happens. Denver has a lot of demand from remote workers, transplants from higher cost states, first-time home buyers entering the market, investors looking for a growth market. And what happens when demand is high? Speed becomes the strategy. Now here's another layer people don't think about.
Layers! Onions have layers.
New construction is competing heavily with resale homes. So buyers are constantly comparing move-in ready homes, brand new build, suburban development, and that creates even more competition for good inventory. As Denver grows, people are pushing further into suburbs like Aurora, Thornton, Lakewood, Castle Rock. But here's the catch. Even the suburbs are getting more competitive now. So you're not escaping the market pressure. You're just relocating it. Now, here's something important. The market is more balanced than it was during the pandemic boom. For example, homes are sitting longer than peak years. Buyers have more negotiation power than before. Price reductions are more common than 21 and 22. But that doesn't mean it's easy. Let's make this real for you. You find a house you like, you schedule a showing, you go see it, and now you're thinking, okay, I like this. But by the time you sleep on it, someone else already put it in the offer. That's Denver for you. So now buyers have to make decisions like, do I offer over asking? Do I weigh certain contingencies? Do I move faster that I'm comfortable with? And that pressure is real. And that's why buying a home in Denver isn't just about the money. It's about strategy. And if you don't have a plan, you're going to feel behind the entire time. So here's the truth. Denver is still a strong market, but it's a competitive one. And if you're thinking about buying here, you need to move smart, not emotional. All right, let's talk about something that doesn't always get brought up in these moving to Denver videos. And that's diversity. Because depending on who you are, this might matter a lot more than people realize. Now let's start with the facts first. Denver is growing, is developing, it's attracting people from all over. But when it comes to diversity, especially compared to other major cities, it still has ways to go. Let me give you some real numbers so you understand what I mean. Denver metro population is a little over 3 million people. Out of that, the black population sits around 8 to 10%, depending on the area. The Hispanic Latino population is much larger, around 30%, which is a big part of the culture here. White population still makes up the majority, roughly 70% or more in many areas. So what does that actually feel like in real life? Because numbers are one thing, but experience is another. Depending on where you move in Denver, you might go to a restaurant, go to a gym, go to a networking event and look around and realize, yeah, I'm one of the only ones in here.
Lonely, I'm Mr. Lonely.
And for some people, that's not a big deal. But for others, especially if you're coming from cities like Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, DC, Chicago, where diversity is everywhere, you're going to feel the difference. Now, here's another layer people don't talk about. Denver used to have stronger historically black communities. One of the biggest examples is the 5 Points area. That was once known as the Harlem of the West. It had jazz clubs, black-owned businesses, strong community roots. But over time, gentrification changed a lot of that. Home prices went up. New development came in. And a lot of that original culture got pushed out or it was just diluted. Now, that doesn't mean there's no culture here. There are still black professionals, entrepreneurs, events, social groups, networking spaces. But here's the difference. You have to find it. It's not as naturally built into the city the way it is in other places. You might have to be intentional about where you go, be intentional about who you connect with, actually put effort into building your community. And let's be real, making friends as an adult is already hard. Now add that extra layer on top of that. Now let's talk about how this affects your everyday lifestyle. Food options, growing but still limited in certain cultures. Events, they exist, but not as frequent or widespread. Nightlife, it depends on what you're used to. You might find yourself saying, okay, where do my people go out here? And again, it's not that it doesn't exist. It's just not as obvious. And this is something people don't always say out loud. Truthfully, environment matters. Seeing people that look like you, being around familiar culture, feeling like you belong without trying, that impacts your overall experience in the city. And for some people, Denver feels peaceful and refreshing. For others, it can feel isolating at first. Now, I want to be fair here. Denver is growing. More people are moving here from diverse backgrounds every single year. You're seeing more Black professionals relocating, more diverse businesses opening, more culture events popping up, different ethnic professionals relocating. But it's still in a growth phase, not a fully developed culture hub yet. And this ties directly into something I said earlier. The biggest mistake is people make when moving to Denver is, and that is assuming it's going to feel like the city they came from. And just truthfully, it's not. So if diversity, culture, and community are important to you, don't ignore this. Just be intentional. Find your spaces, build your network, and choose the right area to live in, because that will make all the difference in your experience out here. The biggest mistake, moving to Denver for the idea and not the reality. People think they're going to hike every weekend, be outside all the time, live this perfect lifestyle, but then life hits them and now you're just living in a regular life in an expensive city. And if this video helped you, hit that subscribe button, because I break down Denver real estate and lifestyle every single week.